the XRP thing, Ripple is getting together with SEC on November 9th, and they're going to talk it out. Most likely, most are predicting that the SEC will just say, we will be dropping the lawsuit. And it'll be another huge loss to the SEC, but they simply don't have any resources left or any avenue to pursue to go after Ripple with. So most likely this day, Ripple will announce and SEC will announce that they come to some kind of settlement, but basically Ripple is going to win. And this will be huge, not only for XRP, I believe, but for the entire market. Because after this, guess what? Then we concentrate on SEC versus Coinbase. And then Coinbase is going to win. Okay, so now these crypto projects and companies have sued and won after years upon years upon years of going back and forth in the courtroom. And now we actually have some clarity that the SEC can't just assume everything's a security and attack everything, right? This will be good. So I believe this is coming up in a couple weeks, okay? November 9th, that's not too far away. And then, of course, we have something that's coming any day now. Grayscale. Grayscale have submitted a filing to convert their trust into a spot Bitcoin ETF. They already won the lawsuit. SEC can't really stop them. They have to come up with some really outrageous reason to not allow them to convert. And what better project or company to have a spot Bitcoin ETF, because Grayscale holds 650,000 Bitcoins. So if you were to make an argument, they are the best suited to come out the first Bitcoin spot ETF, right? So this approval could be coming any day now too. Their like deadlines are different than all the other applications because those are new ETFs, new spot ETFs. This one is a conversion. So I don't even know, I don't know if anyone actually published if there are deadlines for this or it just happens. I don't know. So this could be around the corner too. And if we get the very first spot Bitcoin ETF, we're also going to see some big moves. We're going to see, just like a week ago or 2 weeks ago, that fake Cointelegraph news. This will be much bigger in scale, I believe, because this is something that we've been working towards since 2017. And now thinking back in hindsight, of course, to think about some of these projects and fund managers trying to come out the Bitcoin spot ETF back in 2017 was way too premature. The space wasn't ready. Okay, so I'll agree to the SEC commissioner at the time, Jay Clayton. He said it's just too early. That's true. But now in 2023, it is not. The market is so much more mature, and the market needs it. The market demands it, and institutions are demanding it. BlackRock is demanding it, right? So this time around, it's going to be different. We need it. No, I take that back. We don't need it, but we're going to get it, and it's going to be huge. I wanted to bring up Ripple's case, November 9th. That is also an important date coming up in, less than a month, okay? Why is it important? Because this is when the SEC and Ripple finally talks about moving forward with their lawsuit or basically dismissing it. All signs are pointing to the SEC will relent and just give up, just like they did with the suits against the founders, Chris Larsen and Brad Garlinghouse. They basically have no case. They were supposed to talk about it in April next year, and the SEC just said, forget it. We have no case. We're just going to not pursue it. So, I mean, think about it. That's like 6 months ahead of time, right? So, basically, everything the SEC has argued against Ripple, against Brad and Chris, against XRP, that's 3 losses in a row, and this one will be the 4th. Okay, SEC will probably try to save face and try to get Ripple to pay some kind of fine or something so they can say they did something. But knowing Brad, I don't think they're going to negotiate. They're not going to pay. This lawsuit already costed Ripple $200 million, right? So I do think this could be a huge catalyst, not only for XRP, but for the entire space, because this sets the precedent for everything else that the SEC has lined up, including their lawsuit against Coinbase, right? If they dismiss this and basically the courts decide and rule that, hey, just because a token had a ICO, had a token sale, and just because it's being sold on exchanges, that doesn't necessarily make it an automatic security, right? That's basically what this case is defining. So just because those two things happen does not make that token a security automatically. There are still other criteria to look at. But the reason why SEC sued Coinbase was because they're arguing everything is a security just because it's sold on an exchange. But they don't have that argument anymore. So they would have to go after each and every project that they think is a security and prove their case rather than define everything as a security. That's what this means. So most likely Ripple will win, SEC will lose, and then Coinbase is going to win. And who knows? Binance might win too, because Binance is being attacked by the SEC. And several other exchanges also have been sued, right? And even Paxos, they got sued for stable coins, who the SEC is arguing is also securities, even stable coins, right? So this sets the precedent for a lot of things. So I do think November 9th comes, SEC loses, and we're going to get a big pump because of that too. This is on top of everything else that I just said. So pretty big, pretty big. I don't know how anyone could be bearish on Bitcoin right now, right? I've been saying it for a long time, and I know some people will argue, well, you just sound like a broken clock. Eventually you'll be right. But here's the thing. I know this. I know I'm going to be right. I know Bitcoin will come up and will break its previous high and go up much higher. And not just Bitcoin, Web3, because we already see it. We already see the expansion and evolution of Web3. And I know for a fact that it's going to be much better and bigger and more widely used in the future. You could see it with your eyes. And with Bitcoin, obviously, people are seeing it with our debt issue, with inflation, with distrust in central banks or politicians or leaders of nation states. People can see it. And if you truly understand those things, screw the lines, screw the fractal patterns. You know that people want a flight to quality or a flight to safety, and that's Bitcoin. You really can't argue against those points. I don't think so. I just don't think you can. If you're paying attention, you just can't. All right. Now, speaking of Ripple, most likely their plans are once they win after November 9th, guess what's going to happen? They're probably going to do an IPO, okay? Because Brad will be seen as one of the, the big dogs in the space. To have taken down the SEC, it's going to be huge. It's going to be absolutely huge. But he did say this. He's not a XRP maxi. He recognizes there's a place for other coins as well, like Bitcoin. But he does think XRP is extremely efficient. Of course, he has to say that because he knows it's his self-interest because they own an enormous amount of XRP out there, right? But Brad Garlinghouse is looking pretty good these days for defeating the SEC and doing it not just for himself, but for the entire space. So that's looking pretty good. Now, a couple other crypto projects that are doing very, very well right now. Solana is on an unstoppable path right now. I can't explain why, but Solana just keeps on pumping and pumping and pumping Maybe because there were a lot of selling before because people were afraid that FTX was going to dump everything and, the case is ongoing. And now maybe people realize, well, they're not going to dump. They can't because most of it's locked in and they just staked even more. I don't know, but Solana is coming up in a big, big way. Solana is now at number 7. It's up 8% today. And the gap between Solana and Cardano is now very vast. They were neck and neck. Now they're 3 billion apart. So Solana is also doing very well today and basically for the whole week. Also, Chainlink is gaining strength. Chainlink is kind of like a backbone, the Oracle, the biggest decentralized Oracle network we have that all DeFi projects basically depend on, right? They're also doing well. And the holders are accumulating quite a lot, $39 million in 1 week, okay? Yes, and another project I don't talk a lot about, but I just kind of hinted it yesterday, I believe, is while I was scrolling through, Stacks, which is basically a programmable language on top of Bitcoin, is skyrocketing 26% this week. Why is it skyrocketing? Well, because Stacks was built to make Bitcoin more programmable. And there are a lot of dApps that's on board right now utilizing Stacks, and they're being built on Bitcoin like DEXs and NFT marketplaces and stablecoins, even tokens, NFTs. They're all utilizing Stacks and getting it done. So I think that's the reason why Stacks is going higher. And they have a really unique staking mechanism too.